I am Cassius Skaevas, a centurion of Rome, a man whose name is whispered in the annals of the Republic's most turbulent times. My life was forged in the fires of war, my loyalty tested amidst the blood and chaos of civil strife. While others may sing the glories of great generals like Caesar or Pompey, my story is one of resilience, defiance, and unshakable devotion to Rome. I lived as a soldier, fought as a warrior, and left a legacy that would resonate long after my bones turned to dust. I was born in the rolling hills of central Italy, in the countryside of Latium, to a family of farmers. My father was a stern but fair man who taught me the value of hard work, and my mother instilled in me a sense of duty and pride in our Roman heritage. Life was simple yet hard, and from a young age I understood the importance of discipline. As a boy, I watched veterans returning from campaigns with tales of triumph, their armor gleaming and their faces weathered from years of service. Their stories ignited a fire in my soul. I yearned for something greater than the life of a farmer. I yearned to serve Rome and to prove myself worthy of her eternal glory. At 16, with my parents' reluctant blessing, I left home to join the legions. The journey to becoming a soldier was grueling. The training was relentless. Hours of marching, combat drills, and learning to wield the gladius with precision. But I thrived in this harsh environment, my body hardening, my mind sharpening. I began as a simple legionary, one among thousands. My early years were spent on the Rhine frontier, battling Germanic tribes. The enemies were fierce and unrelenting, but it was in these campaigns that I earned a reputation for courage and determination. I learned quickly that survival was not merely a matter of strength. It required strategy, adaptability, and unyielding resolve. In one skirmish, our cohort was ambushed. Chaos erupted as arrows rained down and warriors surged from the trees. Many panicked, but I held my ground, rallying the men around me. We fought back with such ferocity that the ambushers broke and fled. My centurion commended my bravery, and soon after, I was promoted to the rank of optio, second in command of a century. Years of campaigning and continued acts of valor led to my eventual promotion to centurion, a position of immense responsibility. As a centurion, I commanded 80 men, ensuring their discipline and leading them into battle. I wore the distinctive transverse crest on my helmet and carried the vine staff, the symbol of my authority. My men respected me because I led by example, standing with them in the thick of combat and sharing their hardships. When the civil war broke out between Gaius Julius Caesar and Pompey Magnus, I faced a moment of reckoning. Rome was divided, and soldiers were forced to choose sides. My loyalty lay with Caesar, not just because of his charisma and leadership, but because I believed in his vision for Rome, a vision of unity and strength under a single leader. I marched with Caesar as he crossed the Rubicon, an act of defiance that signaled the beginning of the civil war. It was a perilous choice, but I believed in Caesar's cause. We faced formidable odds, with the Senate and Pompey commanding vast resources. Yet Caesar's brilliance as a strategist and his ability to inspire unwavering loyalty in his men gave us hope. It was during the siege of Dyrrhachium that I faced the greatest test of my life. Caesar sought to trap Pompey's forces by encircling them with fortifications, but Pompey's army launched a powerful counterattack. In the chaos, my cohort was isolated, outnumbered, and surrounded. The battle was a nightmare of steel and blood. Waves of Pompey's soldiers surged against us, their numbers overwhelming. My men were terrified, but I refused to let fear dictate our fate. With my shield raised and my gladius in hand, I stood at the front, shouting orders and rallying my men. The enemy demanded our surrender, but I spat in defiance and hurled my spear into their ranks. "If you want this ground," I roared, "you will pay for it in blood." The fighting was relentless. I was struck by an arrow in the shoulder, my shield splintered by blows, and my thigh gashed by a sword. Yet I fought on, my blood staining the earth, my voice hoarse from shouting commands. My men, inspired by my resolve, held the line against impossible odds. Reinforcements finally arrived, driving the enemy back. As the dust settled, I stood battered but unbroken, my armor dented and my body aching with pain. Caesar himself commended me for my bravery, calling me the man who had turned the tide of the day. From Dyrrhachium we marched to Pharsalus, where Caesar and Pompey faced each other in a decisive confrontation. The odds were against us, as Pompey's forces outnumbered ours significantly. But Caesar's strategy and our discipline carried the day. I fought in the heart of the battle, leading my century with the same determination that had seen us through Dyrrhachium. The clash was ferocious, with swords flashing and bodies falling. When the dust settled, Pompey's forces were shattered, and Caesar stood victorious. After Pharsalus, I followed Caesar to Egypt, Africa, and Spain, where we continued to battle remnants of Pompey's supporters and other threats to Rome. I served with distinction, but the strain of years of war began to weigh on me. When Caesar was assassinated in 44 BCE, I felt a deep sense of loss and disillusionment. The man I had followed, the man who had inspired such loyalty, was gone. I retired from the legions soon after, returning to my homeland. My body bore the scars of countless battles, and my mind was haunted by memories of comrades lost and blood spilled. Yet I was proud of my service, proud to have played a part in the making of history. Looking back on my life, I see it as a testament to the values of loyalty, courage, and resilience. I was not born to greatness, but I earned it through my actions. My name, Cassius Skaevas, may not be as famous as Caesar's or Pompey's, but my deeds on the battlefield ensured that it would not be forgotten. I lived and fought for Rome, a city and an idea greater than any one man. My story is one of defiance against overwhelming odds, of standing firm when others might falter. It is a story of a soldier who gave everything for the glory of the Republic, and, ultimately, for the dream of Rome eternal. I am Cassius Skaevas, centurion of the Roman legions. My life was one of service, sacrifice, and unyielding resolve. Let my story inspire those who follow, for the spirit of Rome endures in those who fight for her, even in the darkest of times.